Hey everybody, it's been a couple weeks since I have posted or made another follow-up video on the topic of traumas. I want to finish the topic. I want to not finish it, but just continue it enough to where I can kind of set it aside for a little bit and then get more into health and wellness coaching and stuff like that, where I'm really, really passionate about. I'm going to be honest. It's been a I've had a really difficult time trying to prepare myself to talk in fullness about some traumas that have happened in my life. And I've kind of arrived at the point that it doesn't, my specific story isn't what's potent or powerful, nor is it what I want anybody to really focus on, because each one of us has a very specific story about trauma in our lives, traumatic events, and I'll share the specifics when I feel it's appropriate or when I feel it's needed. And to express what I'm trying to express, I don't feel that it's needed. So what I will share, though, so nobody's left in the dark, many people in my life already know about this. I want to start by saying something that Russell Brand actually said last week. I heard him, or I saw somebody put up a post of his, and he actually said it, and it's very, very true. He said that marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, all of these substances that are called gateway drugs are actually not gateways at all. What they are is they're a solution for the many gateways that many of us experience in our lives. And his point was that substances aren't the gateway. The gateway is the trauma that's happened in your life that makes you look to these substances for relief. So, and that's a whole different topic in of itself. So I'm going to leave that alone. But that really, really is important in conceptualizing the damage that traumas can do over a lifetime. So the point of me talking about traumas is not to make anybody depressed or sad or anything like that, but really to share that everybody in their own way is going through a traumatic experience. And for me, that traumatic experience that really had a lot to do with how I did things, how I thought about myself, how I felt about myself, because it happened at such a young age. The man who was supposed to be playing the role of grandfather and to have a loving, fulfilling relationship in my life instead chose to use me and to abuse me and spent many years molesting me. And that still to this day affects me in many ways. The way I think, the way I perceive, the way I receive things, the way I give, the way I feel about myself. And I'm not afraid to share that. It's not, honestly, it's not a very uncommon thing, unfortunately, in the human experience. But it can have very uncommon effects in our lives. And really the only way, because the topic of traumas that I've been talking about, I'm focused on staying in your power or taking your power back. And so when it comes to a trauma that's not just a traumatic thinking pattern, that's not just, that's not just like I was expressing earlier, you can think traumatically, and the way you think about things is what can actually be traumatic, is how you're perceiving something. Well, this is the opposite of that. This is when somebody chooses to use you or to abuse you, or you're affected in a way that produces trauma in your life from somebody else's choice that you had no control over. So how do you remain in your power? How do you remain hanging on to your power and you don't lose yourself and become a complete victim to this gateway trauma that started in your life, this gateway event that has led you to looking for supplements, how to supplement this hurt out of your life, these these substances, these actions, this thought pattern, this self-talk. This is how I feel better. So anyway, to me, the way to remain in power, or the way for me to remain in power after experiencing what I did as a child for all of those years, and these are, and like I said, this is well known to my parents. You know, it's it's been communicated about for many, many years. So I have a lot of support, very loving family. Just there were some really ugly choices made when I was a kid by that guy who was supposed to be, like I said, my grandfather. And it really harmed me. It harmed a lot of areas of my life that, thank God, I've been able to work through and been willing to do the work and put in the effort to become the best version of myself, regardless of his choices and how he chose to live his life. Excuse me. So, and here's the key for me. The only way for me to remain in my power, or to take my power back about this trauma in my life, is to first be open and honest about it. Not try to hide it, not try to pretend like it didn't have a bigger impact or a smaller impact than it really did. So recognizing it, getting comfortable with the fact that it's part of the journey that I came here for, and there's a lot to be learned in it. There's a lot to forgive in it. There's a lot of love that can be gained in it, self-love, self-understanding. But the most important part of the recipe to me in remaining in my power is the simple fact that I have a choice now. I survived the trauma, I survived the behavior, and now I have a choice on how I'm going to move forward. I have a choice whether I want to remain angry, whether I want to remain a victim, whether I don't want to trust people. I have a choice whether I want to feel less than, or that I'll always be used and not loved. I have a choice. And that's really where your power is when you've been the victim of a true traumatic action that somebody's done, and you've been the victim and suffered the repercussions of it in your life. If you have lived through it, you have a choice. And that's where the power comes in, because honestly, whether it's, fitness in your life, whether it's eating, whatever it is in your life, you have the power to choose what it is that you want to ingest and what it is that you want to take into your life, or what you want to invest your time into. And you have a choice on the outcome of that. And I have taken an active choice in not allowing somebody else's ugly decisions that have personally affected my life to affect me anymore. I've had to go from looking at it like a victim to looking at it as an opportunity for growth, for reflection, for awareness, and to learn how to love myself, to reteach myself a love language, because the one I was taught was, if you give me this, then you get this. And so I've had to relearn all of those neurological pathways. I've had to do a lot of, reflective meditation and counseling and all kinds of different stuff that, for years has been I looked at it as, I don't need any of that stuff. I don't need any of that stuff. And I can tell you they've been powerful tools in helping me take my power back. How? By moving out of the state of being a victim to realizing I do have a choice now. I am in control, and I don't have to let what was done to me drive so many areas of self anymore. So that's a huge key to taking your power back. If you lived through it and you have a choice, you literally can choose to not be the victim to that anymore, and to start to go through some of the things, some of the healing processes and lessons that it can teach you. So anyway, guys, I wanted to share that. I wanted to let you know. And here's the other thing that I want to share with everybody. Be bold about what you went through. What you went through, look at it like this. Instead of why did all this happen to me, and why has my life been this way? Nobody has that answer. Nobody does. Instead, look at it like these are all the ingredients. These are the prescriptions that were put in your life, and you have a choice to grow from them or for them to be a gateway of excuses and reasons why you can't evolve, why you can't get better, why you can't heal. Take the higher road, do the work that the person before you didn't want to do, and become that character of change in your family line or in your environment, whatever your story is. So be bold, tell your story. Don't be ashamed about it. There's nothing in my story that I'm ashamed about. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've had a lot of things happen to me. People do things to me, and things I've done to myself through the way I thought. So don't be afraid to share. Your story's magical. Your purpose is perfectly intact. Just keep on, keeping on, keep moving, and stay positive, guys. The next video I make, before I start doing a lot of the health and fitness stuff, I want to talk about transitional characters. And by realizing that whatever trauma you've been through, you still have a choice, that makes you and gives you the power to change the epigenetics of your family by becoming a transitional character. Next video to come, hopefully tonight or later this week, or hey, it could be a month from now. But anyway, just keeping in touch, letting you guys know I'm still here, still working on myself and everything that I'm being led to work on, and I'm excited about the future. So do the work. If you've survived a tough trauma and you have a choice right now, you no longer are subject to that trauma unless you choose to be. So anyway, blessings, guys, and we'll talk to you later. All right.